Three, two, one.
Hello, and I want to welcome you to the first ever Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine, the first online awards recognition interview. I'm very excited because we've seen so many things from elite publications that have really highlighted, along with the AAMA, martial artists across the globe that have done extraordinary things. And so we are here with none other than Grandmaster Jesse Bowen. Jesse, how are you?
Hey, Jim, I'm doing, hey, you know me, better and better, trying to make the world a better place.
Hey, you know what I love about you, and it started even from the very beginning when we started working together, is the fact that you are really doing it. You're not just coming up with a dream, but you've really been executing a lot of great things. You've had great people around you that have been supporting you. And as a result, you've been able to just highlight some extraordinary martial artists. And I can tell you everything has a beginning, and I just want to jump right into it. And I just want to ask you, Jesse, I'm sure as you come up with this whole concept of martial arts extraordinaire, the magazine first, I wanted to ask you what really prompted you to create the Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine online awards presentation.
Well, hey, that is a great question, Jim. It really started back, when we did the first book in 2014. It was just something I was doing to honor my teacher, because he was a publisher. He published Who's Who in American Karate. And I was just, doing something to say thank you and giving him his own personal book. And someone, Grandmaster Joe Corley from the Battle of Atlanta, he says, let's do this one more year. So we did. 2000 and in 2016, we did that. We did the second book, and that it just took off from there. And so we've been doing the book, and we've been trying to come up with different ways we can help our martial arts community to be able to market, brand, and become authorities in their communities. Now we have a new word called influencers. How can I help you, a martial artist who's a great teacher, but he doesn't have that ability to attract new students? How can I help you become an influencer? Well, there's 50 schools in in the old days it was a telephone book, but nowadays it's online. So which one do you know that's the right one? So we're working on helping them to be moved to the top of the selection list by, number one, acknowledging that you are now published in the Who's Who in the Martial Arts biography book. And now you have the opportunity to be published in a magazine and to be able to market yourself in the magazine. The magazine is not a famous magazine. I stopped doing famous magazines because, famous people don't want to invest in themselves. They just feel like someone should invest in them, and they just stand back and take advantage of that. So this is a marketing magazine. Actually, this magazine has, I think, 10 people in the magazine who are have a column, but they also have their own personalized cover. So we've developed a product that I don't just have a copy of the magazine. Now, the people that are writing in the magazine, I actually give them, they walk away with their own personalized copy of the magazine for them to be able to sell, to be able to monetize. So we're constantly looking at ways we can help people grow themselves financially and build in brand recognition.
Going along with that, I know you told us what extremely positive benefits someone can gain from being a part of this, but what is the mission behind this awards recognition, and really what makes it different than, a traditional martial arts event?
Well, first of all, is the ease of being able to attend. As long as you've got your cell phone, you have your computer, then it's easier to get there. In a live event, we have to do a lot of travel, but in the live event, we can personally interact, touch, shake hands, and all that kind of good stuff too. So in today's the 21st century, we're learning how to be able to use technology as a way to help us be able to live better, to do more, and to be able to benefit more. So that's what the event does. But have we sent out, I guess, over 3,000 invites to this particular magazine. So from the comfort of their home, they can now attend. We also have started a Roku TV channel. So this is actually going to be broadcasting on the Roku TV channel. So our whole thing's about messaging, getting your word out, being able to become a published author. Jim, when we started with the Who's Who, I didn't want it to be someone to get an award and go home and put it down and never share it with their students, their family, or their friends. I wanted it to be something that people could be proud of, that they could see what they've done. This is a legacy foundation that we're not just, writing the books. We are now, we're publishing their information in a resource that's in the Library of Congress. So, and now we're teaching them how to write their own books. So, we went with starting with the Who's Who book and the awards presentation. And now, we went to the magazine. Now we have the TV channel. Now the next big step, listen here, I've got 63 books I've written online. So, I don't, that song, Jim, Don't Want to Keep It to Myself. So,
oh yeah,
why keep it to myself? If I share with you and I can help you to become better, then guess what? I become better too. So I'm all about sharing information on how you publish, how you write, and then how you monetize your book. And so we're constantly, it's not a book, it's not an award, it's a personal development thing. Your story has value. So someone may say, well, Jess is all about the money. No. The money is an outcome. Money and wealth is an outcome of doing something good. So when the more people I help, the more that I am blessed. If nobody reads the magazine is right now #1 hot new release, #1 bestseller, and about 6 different categories online. So the more people that read the magazine, and that's the reason, Jim, you're in the magazine with an article in there, but the more people that read our magazines, the more we are actually contributing and benefiting and giving back to our community to make people better.
I think you bring up a really important point. What is, you brought up, you're in the magazine, and, I hadn't been so much focused on that, but it does feel, I feel very privileged to be a part of such legendary publication. I'm part of a lot of publications, so I have one of my own. But the reason why I bring that up, Jesse, you're always doing things that are very innovative, and that's okay. I want to tell you, many of us, and I myself am included, I don't sit there and dwell on what's in it for me all the time, but I tell you, it is what's in it for people. And we hope that people that are a part of this really understand the value of it. And I want to just ask you, really, just in terms of people that own the schools, many of your martial artists own schools, how can being recognized in this event or magazine help martial arts schools grow their student base? And I think arguably even more important, their community influence.
Well, Jim, if they're featured in the magazine, let's use an example. Magazines are powerful. My day one, I started in the martial arts. I had never seen the word karate. Really have seen. We're talking. Back in the early '70s. I just wanted to learn how to defend myself. I didn't want anyone to beat me up. I'd seen the word, but it never registered. But the very first day I went and joined a martial arts school, I'm in a convenience store, and I'm walking out of the store, and my eyes catch over in a book stand and a magazine stand. I saw the word karate. It's like having a red car. You don't see a red car until you buy a red car. Then everybody's got a red car.
Right.
So I walked over to this newsstand. And I picked up the magazine. I opened up to the first cover, first page. On the inside cover, it was a picture of Chuck Norris holding a giant trophy cup. Had his foot up in a chair and the cup up on his thigh, and a little old lady was him in his uniform. That is still engraved in my mind 50 years later. That the influence of that magazine, seeing Chuck Norris, I knew at that very moment I wanted to be like Chuck Norris. I wanted to be a karate champion. I wanted to be able to hold it. And that's the way the magazine can be to your students and future students. But there's a whole marketing thing that we actually do. So for an example, when someone is now in the magazine and they're writing on a particular topic, it's just like with this magazine, we honored people, martial arts schools that were making an impact. So they're being recognized and receiving an award as an impact martial arts school. So number one, their school has that title. They put this on all their advertisement, 2026 Martial Arts Impact School of the Year. Now they have now since they're in there, and we put their picture on the front cover. So we have like a master cover. So, this cover here, we'll show it in line in a moment. This is the master cover of the magazine. But so now, Jim, I put your picture on the cover because now it's being customized to your school. So now you have your own personal cover. So now when you're now marketing your school, and say for an example, I walk up to you and say, "Hello, sir. My name is Jesse Bowen. Have you ever studied the martial arts?" They say, "Well, no. Well, great. Well, I'd like to offer you the opportunity to study the martial arts, and I want to give you a free copy of the Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine. My school is featured on the front cover. So I'd like to give you this copy of the magazine and invite you in for a free introductory class. Is that okay for you?" What are they going to say? "Nah, I don't want it." No, they're not. They're going to take the magazine. And because your picture is on the front cover, you are now building a relationship with that person. They've got a picture of their first karate teacher in their hand. And now I turn around and I sign it for them. They come in. Guess what? That close is almost automatic. Okay. The magazine is designed to influence. Let's give you another example. Now I have a magazine party at my school. Okay. So now my magazine party, and I do a contest. And so my contest is tell my students, bring a friend in that joins our program, and I'm going to take you to my pizza party. It's pizza party with Sensei. You and your friend are going to go to the party, and you're going to receive a signed copy of the magazine. So I've got my buddy Johnny, and we're hanging out with Sensei. Oh man, it doesn't get any better than that. But guess what it does for me? Let's just say, for an example, I'm going to go with the low number. Nobody charges this anymore. Let's just say, Jim, your tuition is $100 a month. And when you are on a membership-based program, so that's what my model is built on. So now when Johnny signs up, 12 months, that's $1,200. Okay. Now, but I had 10 kids that brought their friend in. So now that's no longer $1,200 of revenue that's coming in at that moment, whether or not if they cash out and pay me up in front, or if they go for the 12 months and sign up on that monthly membership. See, regardless, those 10 people that paid are now paying $1,200 a year is equaling for that one day, that one magazine that I may spent $600 or $700 to be in has brought me $12,000. So now I would personally trade $700 for $12,000 any day of the week. Now, if you're charged, so now you do the math, and now you're charging $200 a month. So now that's $24,000. So those 12 magazines that you gave away, or whatever, or 24 magazines, now you made $24,000. Now, I mean, to me, that makes a whole lot of sense. And because and you know, you have a magazine, and magazines are powerful, more powerful than social media marketing or running an ad. Because you know, I'm running an ad, I'm reaching people all over the city. But now I take my magazine and I put it in my doctor's office. I put it in my bank. I put it anywhere where people stop and sit. I put my business card is now stapled in the magazine, and it's an index card. So when you open up the magazine, then it's going right to where my article is. So when someone picks up the magazine, they see the business card. It goes right there. Put a little note. Please don't remove the card. Please take a photograph of the card. Write it down. You know, but guess what? That when someone sees the word karate sitting out on a table, they want to pick it up and look at it. So that's what makes this magazine powerful, you know, in that part. Let's say I want to do a coaching program for a company. I want to teach self-defense. I want to coach. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to send that company a signed copy of the magazine. Please let me know if you would like to have some training in your company. They get a magazine, my picture's on the front cover. They didn't pay anything for it. So what do they feel like, Jim? They feel like they want to give me something back. And all I'm asking is for them to give me the opportunity. So you see the number of ways that you do. So now, you know, my program now, instead of 10 people it brought in, and you know, I'm charging $200 a month, and that $24,000, maybe I'm a little aggressive. Now I bring in 20. So now we're looking at four. See, do you see how the math goes up? And if you are in running a business, then you run a business because you want to create revenue. If you're running a business because you're a habit, then you should go to a park recreation center so you don't have to pay the business taxes and all that other stuff. But if you're going to pay business taxes, then you want to be able to elevate your revenue and income. And this magazine marketing is the perfect opportunity to do that.
You know, you bring up some of the interesting things on the business side of things, which I know a lot of people are interested in. We're going to discuss that a little bit more, but you know, I think you touched on it very strongly. But you know, you take a look at this, first things first, just from a branding point of view. You know, the magazine, very powerful as a marketing tool. And how can it serve as a marketing and branding platform for the martial artists? But specifically as well, going even further, can you explain the significance of the Empowerment School of the Year award, and just what qualifies somebody to be a recipient of that?
Well, in our search, sometimes things are so new, people don't know the value of it because it's so new, hasn't been done before. So in our search, we went around to the websites. Actually, when this issue, we worked with Grandmaster Stephen Oliver and Jeff Smith. They have schools that are creating $1 million a year. So that's a whole nother level of students. So that is an empowerment school. If you're creating $1 million a year, that means you got to have a lot of students coming in. You got to have great retention. So that is an empowerment school there, and people stay around because of the benefits that they get. But what we do is go on and search websites. We search social media. We see what people are doing, and then we make a nomination to them in there, because a lot of people don't know who we are. So we're going out in the community, and what's qualifying you is from me looking at your work, not what you tell me, but what I go back and I research your name and I see all the stuff you're doing. That's what makes you an empowerment school. We lost
You know, that's really exciting just to hear. And what are the benefits? Okay, I'm an empowerment school. You've implied it, but how could I use that to take it to the next level if I own a school, even for my own personal influence of people?
Mm-hmm. Number one, we give you a certificate that goes on your wall, which everyone can see. Now, number two, it's in all of your marketing. So when I'm reading down that John Doe is in this Hall of Fame, that Hall of Fame, and all this other stuff they have, but now I have, Karate International Martial Arts Extraordinaire Magazine Empowerment School of the Year. So, so that's what we're doing is just by holding that title, you're sort of making your message stronger. And so when you make your message stronger, and that's what it's really about, that the telephone rings and you got people coming into your martial arts school and you're growing and you're thriving. So the magazine, just by putting this on your social media, going out in the community, giving these magazines to your coaches, to your school teachers, anyone that will refer someone, a client to you, you want to make sure you give them a copy of the magazine so that they'll know. And again, I think it's always like, if I give you something, you want to give me something back. So when, again, schools, this is a great way to reach out into the school system. In fact, Jim, the kickoff of the magazine, I've been writing for Martial Arts World News now probably about 6 years. But, the first thing that they did when I started writing for them, they featured me on the front cover of the magazine. That gave me, that opened up doors, and I sent a copy. I'm a business coach for Duke University. So I sent a copy over to Duke CE Corporate Education. They immediately said, okay, Jesse, we need you. We want you to go to Nike. I actually was the closing speaker at Nike, and that's big league, but it was the magazine it's my giant business card. It allowed to be an influencer.
Yeah. Well, I think this is pretty exciting just to discuss this. And I want people to think about when you hear that somebody has an Academy Award or an Oscar, that means something. That's what this is all about. There's immediate prominence and respect. And I love what you shared, Jesse. Just the ways and paths that you're opening up for the martial artists are incredible. I hear you talk so much about not it being about you, but it really being about the community, and you've really wanted to give back. You've created paths and conduits for people to really be able to be showcased. Now, I want to talk to you just the bottom line of many school owners is to be able to increase their income. All right. And you've kind of went through it a little bit. I know it's implied, but can you go through that? Maybe give a few specific practicals that people that own schools would be interested in.
Well, Jim, as I said before, the door opener of having your picture on the cover of a magazine, because my let's say I've got a national magazine, and the national magazine, maybe you're out in California, maybe it's over there. You don't know me. It doesn't matter. Anything that I tell you could be interesting, but it matters in my community. So because the magazine is personalized, then that's what really draws that impacts you in the community, and you stand out by having your picture on the cover. So just within that, then of course, if you take the magazine and put it down on your desk and never pick it up, it won't matter, but you're showing every day, you're posting line, you're having a conversation about your magazine, your parents know about it, the referral. And so, it just goes on and on. And Jim, we generally carry a business card in our pocket, or now we have the digital card. So in there, so we can do what? We can give that. So if somebody wants to contact us in the future, they can, go to our card. So it's the same thing with the magazine. So now I have the magazine. So now you can go to Amazon and get the magazine. You can download the magazine in KDP. So there's just so many things you can actually buy from our store, the magazine. So there's just so many options and ways that you can get to it, that we really try to make it easy that people could get to.
Yeah, I think this is really important what you're sharing. Being put on something. Let me be real clear with people, Jesse. It's kind of like being an author, best-selling author. We all know what the implication is, but it doesn't mean anything unless you do your part. You've got to share it with people. So many things are vying for our attention right now. How do you really get yourself in front of the room? And I tell you, Jesse, I feel like you've mastered it, especially in the martial arts world, because I know that's where your heart has been. You've helped so many people surface themselves. Just like Zig Ziglar said, you give them what they want. Guess what? You got what you wanted, Jesse, to have a big impact. I know, very clear. You want to know you made a difference. Very clear. You want to know that you, Jesse Bowen, had a positive impact. And
It's
by helping
legacy.
others do this, you've been able to do it. But they've also got to do their part as well. And I want to make sure it's clear, just because you say, hey, I'm going to be a part of this or that book, it does, or I got this award, doesn't mean anything if no one knows about it.
That's
So
exactly right. That's
I
exactly right.
know, Jesse, people can come to you and just really, especially in martial arts arena, and really be able to get some real practical, definitive things to do. Like, for instance, when you give instruction to your students on what to do, if they don't do it, they don't practice, they don't implement, the result will not be there, just to be real clear. But I'm excited about the doors you're opening. Now, I want to ask you right here, you know, in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see the Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine really impacting people's lives? What is your vision for this magazine and the platform you've created for the awards?
Well, it's going to duplicate itself. It's going to duplicate it in other magazines. So, we have the Take Center Stage magazine. We have the this magazine. We're getting ready to introduce a new magazine called the Hall of Famer. And this magazine is about people who have been inducted in Martial Arts Hall of Fames. Another way for them to be able to market, brand themselves, and to really be a part. We're working with some folks up in Canada. We're hoping to start licensing the magazine. So now other people can publish under the Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine. So if someone says, man, I really would love to have a magazine, well, hey, listen here, take this idea. We will license you. We will actually you don't have to worry about where you're going to get your publishing from. We're going to do all of that for you. We are your partners. So what we do is license you for your distribution of the magazine, help you find the partners, and help you be able to gain access to it and make it easy. And to get your book up on MagCloud or wherever, we're going to make it easy for you to be able to do. So that's where I see us, Jim.
I love the roadmap you've created just for the people in the martial arts community, specifically the magazine, the events, and we are really excited and honored to help promote many of you because you deserve it. Jesse, we're ending out. We just have a couple more minutes. Can you please give any final statements to somebody who might be watching this, martial artist, and just what are your closing comments?
Well, listen, I want to help. I've done 60 some books, and Amazon sends me a check every month. In March, I think Amazon paid out $65 million to authors. I got my check, So again, is whether it's my Christian books or whatever, I'm making a difference. And again, people are reading my book. I've got about 15 books that are in Amazon's top 100 best-selling books. So in other words, it's a plan. It is a marketing plan. So you want to know how you can, utilize what you have to help you be able to move forward. And I'm doing that through the books. So I want to be able to help authors be able to publish themselves. So if you're looking to publish a book, contact Elite Publications, and we want to help you to be able to publish your book, to be able to get your book out there, tell your story, help you write it, help you publish, and then help you monetize it. I can guarantee you that if you're publishing with Elite Publications, when your book launches, instead of being at the bottom, then you're going to be at the top. They have about 14,000 books that release every week. So if you don't have the right marketing, you go to the bottom of the bottom of the barrel. So we are your easy button to be able to help you move forward.
I guess it'd be kind of like trying to get a black belt without any instructor or sensei. So we want to really help guide you through this whole process. And I want to tell you, we're very excited about the first just inaugural event of those that are going to be able to get this online award and be part of the Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine awards recognition. This is Jim T. Chong, the Walk Star, and
Jesse Bowen.
have a great one. Bye-bye. Catch you there.